Okay, so the last part of chapter 10 talks about capillaries. It's up 10.4. We didn't do that yet. And I don't really want to do a bunch of notes on it because we've talked about capillaries a lot already. You know, it was kind of in all of the units that we've been doing in the human system. So I just want to kind of use this as a summary sheet for just discussing capillaries in general. So capillaries are thin blood vessels that transfer heat, we know that, gases, O2 and CO2, and nutrients from food with many different areas in your body. So we've talked about 4 so far. It's not limited to just 4, but we've talked about 4. So what we'll go through is we'll label the system that the capillary is exchanging with, so here, and then write what the capillary is exchanging, number 2, and then briefly explain how. So like which way would it go. So I'll do one, let's see here, okay. So let's start with the one, the lungs. So what system is the capillary system, which is part of the circulatory? What is it exchanging with? Which system at the lungs? Respiratory, yeah. Right, what the capillary is exchanging? Oxygen and, yeah, so our gases, O2 and CO2. So now how the exchange occurs, so we can kind of, you know, this will be a little bit different depending on which system we're dealing with. But what do we know about how the exchange occurs at the lungs? What place is it at, I guess, specifically? Alveoli capillary, yeah. Alveoli capillary network, we would call it. So which way does the oxygen, which way does it usually go at this meeting place?
Oxygen goes into the system, CO2 goes out of the system.
Which system?
Bloodstream.
Okay, so oxygen goes into blood, CO2 goes out of blood. So that's like a really summarized idea of what we've already taken a lot of notes on and done things about. So then muscle, which I think I spelled wrong.
No, I think you did it right.
Is the C before the S in muscle?
No, it's right.
I did it right? Okay. Sometimes I have a hard time spelling. Okay, so what system is it exchanging stuff with at the muscle? What system is a muscle part of? Skeletal, muscular system? Yeah. So yeah, let's put skeletal / muscular system. So what is the capillary exchanging at the muscle?
O2, CO2, nutrients.
Yeah, probably, yeah. So we have our O2, we'll have our CO2, and then we will also need definitely a lot of glucose for cellular respiration. So glucose, and we can put down, oh, there's one other thing, a really, like a specific nutrient that we know about that muscles need to contract. Protein, yeah, we can have to make protein, yeah. ATP, we'll need phosphates, yeah. There's one other very specific, calcium, yeah. So we know we need calcium, so that has to come from what we consume, and then our blood will transport it to our muscles. Now the ATP, it's not like the bloodstream probably wouldn't deliver ATP to the muscle. It would be more like the mitochondria in the muscle cell would make the ATP. Oh, and then, yeah, let's just leave it at that for now. Okay, so briefly explain how the exchange occurs. So what's going into the muscle? Or, yeah. No, let's be consistent. What's going into the blood from the muscle?
CO2 goes into the blood.
Yeah, because we don't want the CO2 to build up in our muscle. So the CO2 goes into the blood. So then we have the O2 goes out of the blood and into the muscle. And nutrients would go out of the blood into the muscle too. So we'll just say nutrients to summarize the rest. Good. So how about the intestine? What system is that? What do you do when you eat things? You have to, digestive system, yeah. So this would be our digestive system. What main things do we have being exchanged here? Pardon? Food. Yeah, so food nutrients, yeah.
Would you also have accepted carbohydrates as well?
Well, carbohydrates is one type.
No.
Because we have proteins, carbohydrates, fats, and nucleic acids. So we can write each one of those down if we want. So we have our carbs, proteins, fats, nucleic acids.
O2 and CO2 too, right?
Pardon?
There would also be O2 and CO2 exchanged too.
In your gut?
Which there's muscle in
Yeah, I guess so.
there. That's just kind
Yeah, to the muscle that's in the digestive system, yeah, the
of, would it also go
smooth.
to the cells that are in it too?
Pardon me?
Would it also go to the cell walls of it?
Yeah, that's true as well. I just want to focus more on like what would be the capillary exchange happening with the intestines itself, like with the villi. Yeah. Okay, which answers the next part then. How does this occur at the villi capillary network? So where does the nutrients go? Goes from what to what? Yeah. So from digestive into blood. And as Brianne said, absorbed by the villi. So yeah, and Connor made the observation that we'd also have gas exchange delivered to the muscles around that. But we'll kind of, so we know, like, you know, I pointed there to, say, our bicep muscle, but we know that we can apply this to every other muscle in our whole body. And so that would include, yeah, the smooth muscle at the digestive system. So good. Okay, and then lastly is our skin, which we haven't done a lot about, but a little bit. Do you know what the system of the skin is called? I haven't taught you that. It might just be something you know.
It looks just like a line.
Oh, yeah.
Like interclass.
Close. Integumentary. You don't have to know that. It's just, let me make sure I'm spelling it right. Integumentary, yeah. You don't have to memorize that that's what the system is called, but just so cartilage now. Okay, so what's like what's the main thing that we've talked about so far that is exchanged with the skin, with the capillaries? The heat, yeah. So thermal energy, yeah. Whoopsies. And so, what can we kind of summarize as how thermal energy is exchanged?
Capillaries near skin open up, thermal energy goes out.
Okay, so how can we have, when is it that you want to release more thermal energy? When you're hot, when you're exercising, what happens to the capillaries in your skin when you're exercising and you're hot? Do they get bigger or smaller? They get bigger, yeah, because they want to release more thermal energy. So we can say, let's say capillaries, let's just pick one way. So capillaries dilate at skin to release thermal energy. And that's when you get like a red face when you're hot, right? Yeah. But then the opposite is true, that when you're cold, you will have constriction of your capillaries at your skin, so to prevent heat loss. But we'll just put down the one example. So that's essentially, like, we've been doing capillaries throughout kind of the whole unit, so that's kind of just a summary of that. So now what I want to do is I have some microscope slides set up of a couple of the different systems that I want you to look at, so we'll go do that.